This community update was brought to you by U-Radio. History isn't just about remembering the past. According to the Manitoba Historical Society, it's about understanding how far we've come. Executive Director Gordon Goldsborough says that's why preserving historic spaces matters.
It seems to me that the importance of history should be to make you grateful. And the reason I say that is that a lot of things have changed over the years.
That perspective is resurfacing as Winnipeg begins accepting bids to restore the Louise Bridge. And while it may look like just another aging river crossing, Goldsborough says its impact on the community was anything but simple.
But it essentially brought the railway into Western Canada. And that, of course, meant that the hordes of people that would begin to arrive could do so easily. Before that, yes, they could still come here, but they might come on a steamboat on the Red River. They might take the very arduous Dawson Trail that was, very rugged.
The Louise Bridge, standing today, was built in 1910, but its history stretches back even further. Much of its structure still relies on what Goldsborough calls the bones of the 1881 original.
And the piers are original. To the original 1881 bridge. They have been augmented, though, because when you look at them, they aren't the same as what the original bridge would have had, but they're in there, they're buried inside. So we can say with justice that Louise Bridge is partly the original bridge from 1881.
The bridge was first designed for the Canadian Pacific Railway, or CPR. But when the CPR built a new crossing, the Louise Bridge evolved, becoming the primary link for pedestrians, wagons, and eventually cars between the two busy neighborhoods.
And so it was strictly a railway bridge, and that's it. Later, they began to use it for other things. The train isn't using it all the time. You could use it to take your horse and wagon across. If you needed to get across yourself, you could walk across. Eventually, of course, as cars became more commonplace, they started driving cars across.
The bridge is also a physical reminder of the era when the railway transformed the prairies, bringing growth for settlers, but hardship for Indigenous communities.
Previously, if you came by rail, you'd come through the United States. This is the all-Canadian route. You can now do it easily. And that brought a flood of people. And of course, from the standpoint of the settlers, this was a good thing, because now, hey, you can start farming, and farms began to develop all over the West. Of course, from the perspective of the Indigenous people, the Métis and First Nations, I think this is arguably the beginnings of a very woeful period in our history when they were, I think, mistreated.
Even the bridge's engineering carries its own story. It once featured a pivoting section that allowed riverboats to pass, an artifact of a time when the Red River was a major transportation route.
Yes, it was designed so that ships, and this was, of course, at a time when there were ships on the Red River, and they had needed to be able to pass by the bridge. And if they had not had a pivot section, well, that would have made a major impediment to any kind of river shipping. And of course, some of those river ships would go out into Lake Winnipeg, travel around the lake. Very important for transporting all kinds of supplies and people around, Lake Winnipeg.
Now, as the city prepares for its restoration, historians say protecting structures like the Louise Bridge means protecting the stories that shaped Manitoba. You're listening to U-Radio, where diverse voices connect. Stay tuned for more stories and insights that matter. With U Multicultural and the Local Journalism Initiative, I'm Ryan Funk.